I will be also doing skincare. Oh my god, something for 15, and I'm screaming because holy shit, I miss Percy Jackson. Like this one, I put tabs all over the place. I put like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tabs. I put 8 tabs on this one. Hi, hello, good morning. It is October 2, or October 3, I'm not so sure. But I am officially starting one of my October TBRs, which is You Again by Kate Goldbeck. So I started last night, actually into the early hours of the morning, and it was good so far. But I got the premise incorrectly. Originally I thought that it was about these two people who found that they were quote-unquote dating the same girl a few years ago, and then suddenly a few years after had to like work together or were first forced into some circumstance that they need to like spend time with each other. But it's actually not about that. The first part is correct, like they found out that they were quote-unquote dating the same girl, but they were forced into a circumstance where they had to interact with each other. It spans across a series of years wherein suddenly they just end up meeting each other again and again and again through totally unplanned and uncontrollable circumstances. So it has a bit more of like a that movie, not really When Harry Met Sally, but more of like that serendipity movie wherein they had no idea how they end up always meeting each other throughout years. And I'm talking like in a span of years, like it's like a year after or 2 years after, 3 years later, they meet again and again and again. And then there comes a point wherein they're both down on their luck. Both of them having recently just gotten out of very serious relationships, both of them having thought that those relationships were like their end game, and then suddenly having to face the reality that no, those are not their end games, and the people they were with ended up leaving them. And then they ended up meeting each other again, not planned, and they just strike up this very, very cute and tension-filled friendship, and I am all for this. I'm like at a 50% mark. I just needed to force myself to stop reading last night. It was like 3 a.m. But honestly, it was so good. The tension's there. The topics that are portrayed, it feels less it feels less of a rom-com and more like one of those Emily Henry books. It's very raw, unfiltered thoughts on life, relationships in general, and it really does try to establish first the characters themselves before even diving deep into the romance or diving deep into the relationship between these two main characters. So I am all for it. This is really, really nice. Both characters are incredibly flawed. They aren't any of your typical romance books. Both the male lead and the female lead are like the star of the show. They can do no wrong, etc. No. This is very much into the Emily Henry territory, and very unfiltered, very raw, very flawed characters having flawed experiences in life, and I love it. I love it. I did not expect it to be like this. Like I really thought it was one of those rom-com Lauren Asher, Ellie Hazelwood romance books, especially since I think one of the main quotes or feedbacks or reviews that were featured in this book was an Ellie Hazelwood review. So I was quite surprised by how non-stereotypical romance book like this book was. So that's that. I will continue reading it all throughout the day. I just have I just need to go to work throughout, and then when I come back from work, I'll probably continue and finish reading it today. Thank you. That's it. So I'm just gonna jump in real quick to update you guys on my reading vlog, specifically for You Again by Kate Goldbeck. I just finished reading this on the way to work early this morning. Quick thoughts about it, right? First and foremost, before I go into like the good parts of the book, I just want to quickly say that I think the marketing for this book is wrong. Like, I think they made such a huge mistake when marketing this book. Why? Because they marketed it as When Harry Met Sally kind of book, and it's really not. I think I already mentioned this in my earlier video while I was still reading it, that it doesn't give off the same vibe as that movie. In fact, I feel like it gave off more of like one day vibe or like the serendipity vibe. And if they marketed it in that way, I honestly would have been more intrigued by it rather than seeing that it's like a when Harry met Sally in book form. Whatever. Anyway, so that's my first point. My second point is that I don't know if it's just because of how my feed is set up or something, but this was also marketed as a rom-com for me. Like when it was advertised in my feed and book talk and booktube and even in Goodreads, I felt like, and I thought actually more on Amazon, I thought that it was a rom-com, Ali Hazelwood vibes, Lauren Asher vibes kind of rom-com book. And maybe it's also because I think one of the key quotes here, like the feedback, actually came from Ali Hazelwood herself. So maybe that's why I associated this book as like a rom-com love hypothesis kind of book. And it couldn't have been farther from that. This is honestly more of an Emily Henry vibe than an Ali Hazelwood, Lauren Asher rom-com book. This is a romance book at its core. Honestly, it's not a romance book at its core. It is a study on human behavior and human relationships at its core. It's full of very, very flawed characters, but also like you will be very, very invested on how they will somehow come out of their situation by the end of it all. And honestly, it is such a beautiful story of the relationship of two very flawed, very broken, but somehow also perfectly imperfect pair of characters. I absolutely loved it. I rated it 4 stars, and I can't believe this is like, I think this is the debut book of this author, of Kate Goldbeck. So I couldn't believe it because it felt like it was written by a very veteran romance author, like with the likes of Emily Henry, and I couldn't wait to see more of what this author has to offer in the future. This is so good. If you like Emily Henry, if you like very flawed characters, if you like complicated, complex relationships, I would highly, highly recommend for you to pick this one up. So good. You Again by Kate Goldbeck. So the next one on my TBR, since I already finished this one, is A Study in Drowning. I have 3 more. A Study in Drowning, Girl Goddess Queen, and also The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue that I wanted to really finish for the month of October, and I want to feature for this specific reading vlog. So since I finished already with You Again, I will move on with A Study in Drowning by Ava Reid. It is, I think, the first YA book of Ava Reid. She had 2 previous books before this, Juniper and Thorn, and also I think I have one right here. It's called The Wolf and the Woodsman. I have been also putting this on. It has been on my TBR since the moment it was published and since the moment I received it from Illumicrate, and I will get to finishing that one up, but I just can't wait to read A Study in Drowning because I have seen so many good reviews for that. Maybe my main gripe about it is that it's YA. I just felt like YA is a lot less toned down. So for example, if you're dealing more with, I feel like YA in general as a genre has very toned down. I'm not saying this that all YA books are kind of like that, but what I've noticed is that most YA books have very toned down elements within their genres. For example, there is a dark story. An adult book would have more impact, or a YA book would have toned down the darker elements of that story versus if it was delivered in an adult format or in an adult book. So I don't know, I'm just quite worried because this is supposed to be like a YA dark fantasy, or like I don't know, it felt like it had dark elements to it. The last YA series that I read was the Prison Healer trilogy, and honestly it was such a good YA trilogy. It reminded me on why I loved YA so much, or on why I used to love YA so much. So I'm really excited, and I hope that this has the same vibes, this has the same element of like heart-pounding, very fast-paced storytelling. So I will read that one. I think I don't have it right here with me, but I have that one. Let me just pick it up. So I am so excited to read it. Part of the reason why I'm so excited to read it as well is because my Waterstones exclusive edition of it just came in, and honestly it's like one of the most beautiful exclusive editions I have. It has like digitally sprayed edges. I don't know if that's how you call it. And then it has such good I like this UK book cover version better than the US edition one. I'm really happy that I was able to grab the Waterstones exclusive edition, and I can't wait to dive deep into it. I will probably again just do like quick checkups while I'm reading it. I will jump in for a quick video whenever I have thoughts, and I will just probably do some spoiler free commentary throughout it. So that's that. Hi, just popping in to update you guys very quickly. I read around 60 pages. Yes, I am at page 60 of A Study in Drowning by Ava Reid. Thoughts. This is actually my second day of reading this book. I have not been able to read the whole day because work is very hell and there was just a lot of deliverables for the day that I had to finish. So I put off reading, and now it's already, oh, what time is it? Hold up. It is already 9:30 p.m. and I probably have around an hour or two to read it because I also need to wake up very early tomorrow for work again. Thoughts on this during the first 60 pages. I think the vibes is there. If you're looking for something very eerie, something very gothic, and I kind of get a sense that Effie as a main character would have a hell of a character development during the whole book, because right now she's very timid, but there is this certain motivation inside of her that wants to break out, certain part of her who wants to really break free of all the expectations and the barriers coming from her gender, being female, right? And I think that's like one of the main plot points of this book. At least 60 pages in, that's like my first prediction that it will become a main focal point of the book. Well, it's not a fast-paced YA fantasy, so it's nothing like Prison Healer. Because, and I'm only saying that, I know there's like, if you read the synopsis of those two books, there is nothing between those two that would suggest they are similar, but I'm only saying that because the last fantasy book that I finished was actually the Prison Healer trilogy, so I can't help but compare, right? Prison Healer is very fast-paced. All three books, first scene, something immediately happens, it sucks you right into the story. This one is more of a sleeper hit, something that will slowly but surely make you invested into the story. At least I hope so, because right now it's very slow-paced. It spends more time establishing Effie as the main character, and maybe the other guy also who just got introduced a few pages before I stopped, like a few pages before 60. So I'm very excited. Right now what I'm feeling is that, since preference wise, right, and this is more of a personal preference, this might not be a 5-star read for me. Maybe the expectations that I heard from other people just set it way too high, and right now that I'm reading it, I'm just not feeling it, or I'm not feeling the same kind of adrenaline that I expected to feel from it based on other people's reviews. But maybe that is my fault, because I shouldn't have been reading reviews from other people so as not to spoil myself. Anyway, what I was saying is that it might not be a 5-star read for me. At least that's the vibe that I'm getting from right now. It's not something that I cannot put down. It's not a book that, maybe that's what a 5-star read for me is. It's a book that I cannot put down. I mean, immediately have to finish because it's that good. It gets me hooked. I don't want to let go of the world while reading it. And this is not that as of now, and maybe it's really just because it's not that kind of book and there's nothing wrong about it, but so far I am looking forward, because again, I've been hearing so many people rave about this book, and I don't know, I just feel like there must be a reason why, right? So I'll probably spend another hour reading this. If I'm not feeling it, I might shift to another romance book, just so I don't get into a slump, because I do tend to get into a slump if I force myself to read very slow paced books. So that's that for A Study in Drowning by Ava Reid. But I will definitely read this and finish this within the month, that's for sure. So I just got back home from dinner with one of my college friends, and it was nice. We talked for a really long time. We ate dinner like 8 p.m. and I just got home and it's already 12 midnight. So it was fun, kind of nostalgic. But now, while I was having dinner with her, actually I got an email from Fully Booked that my order is ready to be picked up. So I pre-ordered a book in Fully Booked months back, and They thought I was ready for a pickup, and I went there. I actually told my friend, after dinner, can we pass by for the book first, the bookstore, so that I can pick up my book. And I already got it, guys. It is the Percy Jackson and the Chalice of Gods. And it's the paperback version. So I specifically ordered the paperback version because I actually wanted to for it to kind of match the books that I have, the original 5-book Percy Jackson the Olympians that I have. However, it doesn't match. It's like taller than the other books. So now I'm debating whether I should get the new set, because I think this one, the Chalice of the Gods, the paperback version, matches the new editions of the Percy Jackson Olympians. So I am debating to get that one because honestly they're really good covers. The new ones are really good, and I wanted to get them even before I knew that this is the one that those were the ones that matched this one. So I might get that, but I might get it straight from Barnes & Nobles because they will have a special edition of the book box set along with like a poster and everything else. So I might get that, and I might get it shipped here in the Philippines. But I am so excited to dive into it. I know that this video is actually about like my October TBR, which does not include this book, but honestly, if there's a new Percy Jackson book, it's immediately in my top pile of TBR. Like, it doesn't even just get added to my TBR, it becomes the #1 book in my TBR, the first book that I will pick up in my TBR. So this supersedes everything else that has been in my TBR for like years now. And I don't care. This is Percy Jackson. He gets priority over everyone. And yes, the mess behind me is actually me trying to like rearrange some of my books because I want to unhaul some of my books, and I want to sell some of my special editions that I actually don't I have either already read and don't plan on rereading, or I've never read and I only got them because they're part of a book box subscription. So I wanted to sell them and not donate them because I am budgeting and I am saving up for my Taylor Swift concert next year. I'm going to Australia actually, and I want to save up for that one because I know I'm gonna spend a lot there because I will be spending around 2 weeks there, not just a few days for the day of the concert, but actually I will spend 2 weeks there. So I will be spending a lot, and I know that already, and I want to budget for it way ahead of time. So I have been picking which books I will be unhauling and I will be selling, and then I will probably post it in Carousel or like Facebook Marketplace so that other book collectors can see and probably choose if they want to buy any of them. So yeah, that's it. I just want to update you guys that I know I'm currently reading Study in Drowning by Ava Reid, and I told you that is the second book in my TBR for October, but I will not be following that. I will instead be reading this first. Anyway, A Study in Drowning is really slow, and I need something fast-paced to like get me out of my eminent slump. Honestly, I feel like a slump is upcoming for me. The slow pace of A Study in Drowning is really not helping. So I need a Percy Jackson. I feel like only Percy Jackson can help me get out of that slump. So there you go. I will read this and I will probably do like little snippets of reviews because I will not be able to help myself. I will really like give feedback, or like I won't spoil, but I would have like probably out of context comments from this. So I'm so excited. We finally have another Percy Jackson book. I cannot believe I am that old. I'm 26, but like still, I cannot believe it's happening. So I am reading, you guys. I am reading. Again, I told you guys I will prioritize this. Hasn't even been 15 minutes since I last did the introduction video of this one. I'm reading this. I am on page 15 and I'm screaming because holy shit, I missed Percy Jackson. Like, I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but there is nothing like a POV like Percy Jackson. There is nothing in this world that is similar to a POV like Percy Jackson. Like the distinctive tone, the sarcasm, the sassiness. Oh my god, like even if I didn't know this was a Percy Jackson book, I would know, and I missed it so much. It's like, again, I told you I was getting into a reading slump. I felt a reading slump coming in while I was reading A Study in Drowning. It's gone now. It's gone. It's barely been 15 minutes since I last videoed the other one. Since I videoed the introduction for this, I am on page 15 and I'm on a roll. I feel like I can finish this tonight. Like, it's past 12 midnight. You can see my eye bags. I haven't even taken a shower yet. I came from outside. I was planning to just read a couple of pages just to get it started, right? But then That is so fucking good. I feel like I could read it. I could read it in like 2-3 hours because it's that good. Oh my god. Okay, I will. I miss this. I just miss this. If you were a Percy Jackson fan, it's not even just about nostalgia. It's about how good Rick Riordan writes Percy Jackson. It's not about nostalgia at all. It is about how you find Percy as a friend, and it's like coming back to your friend in a good way. Like, this is talent. This isn't just nostalgia because you knew this character before. No, it's more than just that. It's because Rick Riordan fucking writes such a freaking good character that you get so connected with them, and you will identify their narrative tone from a mile away. Even if I didn't know this was a Percy Jackson book, I would know this is Percy Jackson's POV. Like, that's how good it was. I can't. I'm so excited. I can't wait to finish this book. I feel like it's gonna be so good. Again, knock on wood, because I don't want to preempt it and then suddenly everything goes downhill from here. But so far, 15 pages in, I screamed. I literally screeched because the side comments, the inner thoughts of Percy, like, I miss that. I miss that funny, the humor, I miss the humor of this guy. I miss it so much, and the way it gets executed, like, flawlessly. It doesn't feel out of touch. It doesn't feel forced. It's Percy, and it's funny. What would be, for example, what are the things that made me screech? Like, for example, I will read you one line. So we all know what this book is about. I mean, this isn't a spoiler, but the book is about Percy getting into a quest because he finds out that he needs to earn favor from the gods to get recommendation letters. So basically, this book, the synopsis of this book, and this isn't a spoiler, right? This book is about Percy Jackson. So he wants to get into New Rome University because that's where Annabeth will be, and in order to do that, he needs to get recommendation letters from different gods. And in order for him to get recommendation letters from different gods, he needs to complete quests for them, basically. And while Poseidon was explaining this whole thing with him, like the requirements of New Rome University, he was basically saying that he needs to do this, right? And then Percy Jackson went off tangent and said, I thought we'd move past this. I helped you guys fight the Titans. And Gaia and the Giants. And he kept on listing. He kept on listing the things that he did, because he fucking did a lot of shit, right? So that the Olympians can still retain their power. And then Poseidon was like cutting him off. He was like, my son, the edgiest voice told me it would be best to stop listing my greatest hits. And I was like, oh my god, I miss that sassiness and that inner thought that, oh my god, he's stopping me from listing my greatest hits. Fine. Like, oh my god, Percy, this is my homecoming. I swear, this is my homecoming, and I am ready for it. I will update you guys again. I love it. Can't wait to read more of it.